Well, welcome, Podathoners. Here it is at last. One of our big site announcements for sure. The biggest by far, and we're very, very excited that we have reached the goal necessary to unveil this announcement. And I am here. Obviously, this is Brian. I know you've been hearing me for the last several hours, but you're going to hear me again. Damn it.
I'm Chris. Here I am, more awake than I probably am where you're hearing me right before this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will be very surprised if we're not just sleepily pushing the button to play this recording half dead. And
even if this happens in the first hour, we've probably spent 6 hours setting it up. So
more than likely. But we are also joined by a man who you're all very familiar with if you're listening to us. If you've listened to us at all in the past, then you know Mr. Jason Neulander of Intergalactic Nemesis. Jason, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. And I've actually been up for 3 days straight in preparation for this moment.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That would explain that weird pasty look you have going on. And the
yellow cloud of smoke that comes out of my meth lab
I didn't know
continually.
I didn't know you could sweat fire, but he is sweating fire right now. It is an incredible thing to behold.
It's kind of cool. Hold on. Come over here. I need to light my cigarette.
So, I guess we should say that the big announcement is that Jason has got a new show in the works that we're very excited about, and I'm going to let him talk about it in just a second. But the big exciting news is that not only does he have a new show, that new show is going to premiere right here on Oneofus.net. Oh my God, you guys! Oh my God!
Not only premiere, but be on it weekly. Am I correct?
Bi-weekly.
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 Okay, it's very open-minded.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be bi-weekly curious.
It's
so.
GBTL by.
It is all of those things. But Jason,
Yeah.
please tell us a little bit about the new show.
Oh, well, I am super excited about this. So, as you guys know, as many of you listening right now know, I had this project called the Intergalactic Nemesis that has been this live show that's been touring the world and has been evolved into a trilogy of shows, actually, and graphic novels and radio plays. And a while back, I came up with the idea of creating a spin-off that features one of the main characters in the first installment of the Intergalactic trilogy. And his name is Jean-Pierre Desperrois. And anyway, you meet him in the story, and he's a secondary character, and he's the salt smuggler, and he has this clearly mysterious past. And I've kind of lived with this intergalactic project for many years, and have given a lot of thought to who this guy Jean-Pierre is, and I thought, well, maybe it's time to tell his story. So what I've done is created this thing. It's called SALT. And it is the story of, I call it the lives and times of Jean-Pierre Desperrois.
The days of our lives.
And,
like salt through the hourglass.
Like salt through the hourglass, seasoning your meat.
Spices the life.
Seasons change.
So, anyway, it's kind of it's tied to the Intergalactic Nemesis in that Jean-Pierre appears in the Intergalactic Nemesis, but it's meant to be a total standalone. So even if you've never experienced the Intergalactic Nemesis, you don't have to have experienced
It's
it.
Angel from Buffy, or the Jeffersons from All in the Family.
Yes, the Jeffersons from All in the
Deep Space
Family.
Nine from Star Trek Next Generation.
It's just like those things.
Indeed.
Wait, so the Jeffersons were on Deep Space Nine? Did I not watch that show? Because I don't remember that.
Are you sure you're awake here, too?
Moving on up to Deep Space Nine. Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
We finally got our place in the sky.
I love it. It should be noted at this point that Chris and I will not be a part of SALT, so if you're worried about that, just go ahead and put it to rest right now.
And neither will Angelina Jolie, so that's
true.
probably good.
That's true.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because I thought about the fact that there's this movie starring Angelina Jolie that's called SALT. But then I also thought about the fact that my project currently has titles like Twin Infinity and Intergalactic Nemesis live action graphic novel, which even if you just use the first letters of each of those words has about 10 syllables if you try to pronounce it all together. So what I'm really happy with, it's probably the best part of SALT really, is the fact that it's a one-syllable title.
Yeah, easy to remember.
Yeah, SALT.
Easy to tweet, for sure. That's why you guys have been seeing those teaser tweets from us.
That's right. So hashtag SALT.
Hashtag SALT.
Hashtag SALT.
I love it.
That's it.
That's all, wait, what?
It's a Twitter show.
Was that 180 characters already?
I didn't think there were that many characters in this play, but anyway.
And there's not even that many characters allowed in Twitter.
That shows how often I use Twitter.
But, well, there is a cast of thousands in this, but most of them are voiced by me. So what we're doing with this thing, Salt, is basically you can think of it as it's kind of audiobook meets radio play in format. The way Salt is told is through sort of first-person narrative, and it's all kind of actually in the present tense, which is, I don't know, for me, writing it certainly has been a lot of fun. But so it's basically Jean-Pierre's kind of inner monologue as he goes through this kind of crime noir adventure. And the first season is going to be about 20 episodes. We're going to do them every other week. And basically the setup is that Jean-Pierre, he's living in Tunis, and he's a smuggler of salt and so on the black market. And you kind of get a little bit of a sense of his daily life, but these murders start happening in Tunis, and it's 1931, and Jean-Pierre is framed for those murders, so it's up to him to sort of figure out what's going on with that. But here's the deal. Jean-Pierre has this remarkable secret, and his secret is that he was born with this uncanny ability to travel through space and time.
Oh, wow, finally, there's someone else.
Yes, thank you.
Chris has felt very lonely for a long time.
It's true.
So Jean-Pierre, he's born actually into slavery on the island of Haiti in the 1790s, and in this voodoo ritual, actually. And so now in the quote-unquote present day, which is 1931, he's living in Tunis, which he's sort of discovered is the best place in all of space and time, to sort of exist anonymously. And anyway, so as you can imagine, time travel sort of plays into it. And right now, I'd say I'm about 3/4 of the way done writing the first season. And my head is spinning so badly that I've had to stop so I don't throw up.
Indeed.
So anyway.
That's like.
But anyway, it's fun, it's complicated, and Jean-Pierre's he's just a great character.
He's a hell of a character, that's for sure. One of my favorite of the secondary characters in the Intergalactic Nemesis series. Question, will any of the Intergalactic Nemesis characters ever make brief apperances over the space of this thing?
Or over the time of this thing.
I see what you did there.
In the space-time continuum of this thing, well, I don't think we're going to get any intergalactic characters in the first season.
At least not planned for the first season.
Yeah, at the moment they're not showing up, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility of them showing up in future seasons.
Hey, pass the salt there, buddy.
That's a fine how do you do.
But part of the fun of it for me is, taking this character who many people who've seen the Intergalactic Nemesis, or I think everybody who's seen it really likes this guy, and really giving him a life of his own outside of it. You get the sense, he has a great line in the Intergalactic Nemesis that when it's revealed that he travels through space and time, and he says to Molly, he goes, "We all have our petite secret, do we not, Mademoiselle Sloan?" And you kind of wonder, like, what are those secrets that you have? Anyway, in this, we find out some of those.
I got the
secrets.
goose pimples when you started speaking like him. I'm all jazzed for this show.
Well, I tell you, I just actually just yesterday wrote this line. I think this will intrigue people.
A sneak
little
preview.
teaser.
Lay it on us.
This is a brand new line. I don't even know if this will end up in the show, but I loved it so much.
Exclusive!
It'll be in the deleted scenes later
Yeah.
if it doesn't.
But it goes something like this. It is not enough to slice the throat of this man. There is something inside of me that compels me to slice it all the way around, from one ear to the other. It is the correct way to slice a man's throat.
And then if you pull the tongue out through it, it's a Sicilian necktie.
Yeah.
This is, when Jason came to us and said he was looking for a home for this show, I emailed Chris and I was like, I don't care how many infants we have to punch directly in the face. I want this show.
It troubles me that was the first thing you went to.
I figured that, I don't know a lot about how business works, but I figured that was part of it.
You must have misunderstood something I said about Jason at some point. It's like, yeah, he's an infant puncher. It's his hobby. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I think you can get a sense that Jean-Pierre's sense of morality certainly doesn't rule out the punching of infants.
Sure. I mean, if the infant has it coming and it's absolutely definably evil, I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
It is not enough to slice the throat of this infant.
An infant terrible.
This is amazing.
But there's going to be, occasional pieces of art that go with it as well, you said?
Yeah, I think we're going to have occasional pieces of art that come along with it. And then right now I'm just playing. The fun of working with you guys is that both of you are totally open to the idea of rolling with this thing.
Sure.
And for me, I'm totally, I've been doing theater for years. I've been doing, obviously, the Intergalactic Nemesis first as a radio play, and then as a comic book, and then as a live stage show for many years at this point. And here I'm just like playing around in this format that actually, in some ways, I feel like I probably should have been working in all along because I'm a voracious reader. And at the end of the day, what am I really creating here but this sort of enhanced audiobook, I myself am curious to see where it's going. I read this great interview a bunch of years back with William Goldman, the guy who wrote The Princess Bride.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how it got to that, spoiler alert, but it got to that place in The Princess Bride where, are there, when something's like 25 years old, is there still spoilers
it depends
involved?
on how obscure it is.
Yeah,
That's not obscure.
I've always been of the mentality that it's not an expiration date or a finite amount of time or quantify. It's about how much it's a part of the pop culture.
Yeah.
And Princess Bride is totally As You Wish, Buttercup, like that's all part of pop culture. That's that's the reason saying Darth Vader was Luke's father is not.
What?
Damn it! I'm sorry. I should have warned you that was just going to come flying out there.
Rosebud was sled.
No! God!
Once again, Chris and I are not going to be on Salt, so if you're hearing this and like, well, I like the idea of this character in this story, but those two jokers in the room, I'm not convinced that that this show is going to work. We will have nothing to do with it other than we are going to be the proud home of Salt.
Indeed.
I feel like we should make that very clear.
Well, anyway, so I was reading, so a little bit of it's not that much of a spoiler, but when the which I'm not going to forget his name, the hero, that Buttercup's in love with.
Yeah, Wesley.
Thank you, Wesley. When he's being tortured, and William Goldman realized that the only thing that, there is no escape from this situation. He has to die.
Yeah.
And so what he then realized was, all right, it would be a cop-out to have him escape, so he's going to die. And I don't know exactly how we're going to get out of that one, but I'll figure out a way. And I've actually found that extremely liberating. In the Intergalactic Nemesis, we worked almost entirely from outlines. Mm-hmm. So prior to writing the scripts, we really knew kind of beat by beat what was going to happen. And there was a little bit of flexibility in there, but not a lot. With Salt, I'm totally letting the characters drive the story.
Oh, wow.
So I truly, as I've been writing, have not been entirely sure what's coming next.
Interesting.
And in fact, that's what I said, my head is spinning right now because I've now gotten Jean-Pierre in this situation or he's gotten himself really in this situation that is like really kind of crazy. And as I say, this will probably be somewhere in episode, I want to say 15 or 14 of this season. And honestly, like right now, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get him out of this thing, but I trust that I don't need to get him out of this thing. He needs to get him out of this thing. So he's
right.
gonna have to figure out a way.
Characters coming to life on the page as you're writing them.
Oh, so it's been just this sort of extremely fun experimental blast, working on this.
So is he? You said he was born in a time of voodoo. Is he an Obeah man himself?
Is he a what man?
What is an Obeah? Isn't that how you say it? Obeah man, like a voodoo, like a priest?
Like a Ungan?
I guess.
Bless you.
He is actually Ungan.
Ungan.
But I don't think I'm revealing too much to say that he is born during a voodoo ritual. And in that voodoo ritual, that's the reason that he has this amazing power. I don't want to give away too much.
No, absolutely.
Because you definitely want to listen to it. But Well, maybe this would be a perfect time for me to sort of give a little bit of the sense of this thing by just giving a teaser of the opening.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Let's do it.
You heard it here first.
All right.
Potathon.
You heard it here first. If I can.
So as soon as he pulls up the page.
You will hear it here first.
It's gonna happen.
It will be heard here first.
It's a lot to scroll through. All right, here we go. So, actually, I'll give you. All right. So this is how we actually open. But keep in mind what's missing from this, because I'm just reading right now.
Sure, you don't have the
is
sound
all
effects
yeah,
and Foley.
exactly. There's more stuff going on.
music.
But anyway, all right, here we go. A question that I ask myself again and again is, what was the reason for this circumstance of my birth? Of all the people born in all places and times, I'm the only one to be born this way. The only one with a father such as mine. There must be a reason, no? Even the loi, they cannot escape their destinies. Yet, in all my years of travel, destiny, she has not called my name. And so, I conclude that it is my destiny to seek out my destiny. For why else would I have been granted this, how do you say, talent that have otherwise been granted to so few? And when I say so few, I mean, of course, only one. Moi.
Awesome.
Holy crap! I cannot wait. Like I'm so giddy. Like I'm so giddy to see where this story goes and what happens with this character.
It frightens me just as, since we do our own really lame audio drama by comparison of like, hey, Brian, do you mind? I just wrote you a character that speaks in that accent. You can do that, right?
Mais oui.
Maybe Jean-Pierre, that's it. Maybe his twin brother gets him out of that situation that I've got him stuck in.
And then he finds out he has a twin and he's not the only one.
It would be a pleasure. That's the only time my 4 years of high school French has come in handy in my entire life is right this second.
Well, no, actually, it's one of the reasons I love this character so much is the fact that I did actually take French in high school, which, let's face it, like in the United States, in this time and
unless you're going to certain parts of Canada, it's like,
it's a pretty useless language to have learned. There's no question about that. But yet, we the French voiceurs, mais oui. Actually, one of the fun things about writing this has been Jean-Pierre speaks English as a second language, you know? And so finding the ways to sort of turn the turns of phrase that you know, because there are certain rules in French, like there's no possessive, like apostrophe S in French. There's of something. So anyway, I've been having way too much fun with the all right, I'm going to do a little more. Is that
Let's
right?
do it. Let's do it.
All right, because I said I would talk about his actual situation of birth, but then I didn't actually get to that.
About it.
So let's. Here we go.
You talk about
so it's something like this. The slaves of AT have an affinity with the dark, no? Even in torchlight, we are invisible, except for our teeth and our eyes. And those can only be seen if the light catches them just so. On the night of the new moon, even the sharpest eyes will miss us. And it is on just such a night that I am born. The night of the 14th of August in the year 1791.
It's oddly, it reminds me just a tiny bit of Interview with the Vampire, the way that starts.
I thought you were gonna,
that's cool.
What I mean?
That's fine. That's great.
Like the book.
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to say it was oddly erotic, and I was going to agree with you 100%.
Oh, I have an erection. There's no denying that.
Well, Jean-Pierre is definitely something of a ladies' man. There's no question about that.
A Casanova.
Yes, he likes the ladies, no?
A Pepe Le Pew, if you will.
Come with me to the Casbah.
Well, Jason, I can't even tell you how excited we are that this show, that Salt is going to be a part of Oneofus.net, that we are able to host it, and I'm so glad that we're able to announce it here during Podathon. And we have a tentative launch date in mind. I feel like I remember us talking about, and now
we have a date. When
I think more than tentative. I mean, we're saying
All right, so
July 7th. No,
July
is the date
7th.
of the first one. By the time this goes up, I believe we'll have the landing page for it up already.
Yes,
so
yes.
you can check that out, and the launch art, as it were. And we look forward to hearing from you guys and what you think and your responses, and even if you're into it, your fan art. We'd love to see your art.
Oh yeah, that would be so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that's so much fun, like one of the challenges that we've had with Intergalactic so far as a project, it's not really been a challenge because it's been wonderful, but you know, the only way to experience it really has been to see it live, you know.
Sure.
And so what I'm trying to do here is really give an opportunity for people who are interested to experience it sort of everywhere on their own time, you know. And with Jean-Pierre, I mean, yeah, I just, you know, and the other piece of Salt is that it pushes it out in a different direction. So for those folks who've seen the Intergalactic Nemesis or have read the graphic novels or heard the radio plays, those are pretty campy. They're pretty funny. This is darker, you know, which you could probably tell from the readings that I did, and it's definitely intended for a slightly older audience. You know, I put it sort of, it's not like full on mature audiences, but it's probably, you know, I'd say teen and above, you know, versus Intergalactic, which is all ages. And but it's got that noir element to it, which I love so much. I've read every book by Raymond Chandler. He
Wonderful.
in preparation for this.
Indeed.
And anyway, can't freaking wait
Well,
to premiere it.
On
very
behalf
excited.
of the listeners and the fans and all of the crew here, Jason, welcome to Us Nation. I'm oh my God, it's so cool to see that. It's so cool to say that. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
I don't know if it's coming across, but like I am super stoked for this, and I'm glad that we got to announce it here during Podathon. And now we're gonna kick it back to future Brian and future Chris, who are probably still napping, hoping that this went a little bit longer so they can catch some 40 winks. But you know what? The show must go on. But again, Salt, the new show by Jason Neulander, a narrative told over, you know, the course of the podcast, a really engaging story right here, Oneofus.net, starting on July 7th. You guys are going to want to mark your calendars to be there for the premiere. This is so excellent. Thank you again for being part of the team.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!